Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining today. Happy to reconnect after a couple of weeks since we last connected. And I want to believe everybody is doing fine. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. More people are joining in. Yeah, so maybe even as we wait for everybody to join in, we could remind ourselves a few house rules for the Zoom so that we ensure that we're able to connect well. Interpretation is actually working, so feel free to click the globe button and you should be able to follow us with the language that you understand better. We kindly request that you could be muted at all times unless you have been invited to share. I think that should be good so that you can be able to communicate well. Beside that, we would wish that this session to be as interactive as possible. At some point, we'll take you to the breakout rooms and we'll invite you to a small poll that help us take you to the right breakout room. So when that time comes, please do sign up. And yeah, in case you do have any contribution, you have any thoughts, you have any question, let's put it in the right place. We can use the chat, at least we are a smaller team. So feel free to use the chat and we can always follow. Equally, you can also use the Q&A to ask your question. Otherwise, once again, welcome. As we say it in Kenya, karibuni sana. This is top 15 cohort of 2024. We are 16 in total, but for branding sake, we prefer to call it top 15. Yeah, and today marks the beginning of yet an exciting journey for you because we are starting more kind of like support, mentorship on different topics that you did actually propose to us. Good to mention that for the last couple of weeks since our last interaction, we did actually commission need assessment. So you have been able to talk to either Paminas or Will from Baka Fund. And you did actually express some of the gaps that you feel that are necessary for us to be able to consider even as we support you moving forward. It's from that we have been able to line up an exciting program for the next coming weeks. Yeah. And we did actually share an email with you just explaining how this will roll up. Allow me to apologize on behalf of the team now that we did not have a session last week on Tuesday as we had actually promised. The reason is because we kind of took time to be able to finalize on the need assessment. So a bit of delay analyzing so that we can be able to identify some of the gaps. But I want to believe we are somewhere and we are all set with today's lesson, which is on business value proposition. And we do have Mr. Kirenya Gethenji with us from Wild International, one of our long-term friends and partners for the Land Accelerator, who will be taking us through that session. And mainly the problem we are trying to address is most of you did actually communicate the need to really be able to resonate with the problem that we are trying to solve. Looking at your products and now looking at where we are with restoration. So how do you speak to the challenges that are actually there? What is it that you're looking to solve? So we'll be looking at that, but equally be able to deep dive on even looking around your market and the needs and your customer and all that. I'm sure Mr. Kirenya will be able to take us through. And from here, we will continue advancing conversation from value proposition to even be able to define the product that you have in terms of even how do you brand that product, how do you package it to your customers, to even connecting to impact, and at the end also be able to connect with investment. So we'll have that, and then at some point we will be able to invite other external partners to be able to work closely with us. So let me not dwell much on that. I'll be able to maybe take a few minutes at the end to get to hear from you how that structure is and whether you feel comfortable, and any other program updates we do. Anyway, without further ado, allow me to invite Kerenya Gethenji. As I said, he is coming from Wild International, a renowned trainer and a strategist, and he will be able to take us through this session on business model. Kerenya, with me is 16 companies from last year's cohort, and if I'm not wrong, perhaps you could have taken us through 1 or 2 sessions, but now we have narrowed down to this group that we want to handhold and be able to support all through to even connecting them to investors at a later date. So welcome, feel free to take over, and yeah, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samuel. Let me see, let me share my screen. Please tell me whether you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so a very warm welcome to those of us who are joining us for this session. Very nice to have you on board, really. What we're talking about today is pretty much crafting your value proposition. Now, what I want to say at the onset is that it's not as straightforward as it looks. The other thing is, at the end of this session, I'm going to give us about maybe 15-20 minutes to craft your value proposition and come and share it with us. So be on the lookout for that towards the end of this session. Right, tell me whether my screen is moving. How do you go about it? How do you go about crafting a value proposition? Okay, so the first thing is you need to be very clear about the problem that you're solving. That's absolutely necessary. And this is the starting point of developing a compelling value proposition. Clarity about the problem you're solving. That's the first step. So if I ask you, what problem are you solving in your business? Not for yourself, but out there in the market, of course. Are you able to tell me what it is? So as you move along, hopefully you'll be able to understand that the idea that you cannot craft a compelling value proposition without first asking yourself what problem you are solving. So that's the first question. Second question. Let me give you examples of this, okay? Look at that. Listen to music, streamline operations, commute to work, grow tomatoes, improve yields. So if you look at that, you can see from a market point of view, you can say the problem that people are trying to solve is to listen to music or to streamline operations. Of course, these are examples I got from my head, so you don't have to worry too much about them. What they're trying to do is to commute to work. What they're trying to do is to grow tomatoes, improve yields, whatever other problem out there is to be solved. But if you look at those words that I've highlighted in red, they're all what we call verbs. They're all verbs. So when we come to problem solving, answering that question, what problem are you solving? I'd like you to tell me, I'm providing a solution for people who want to listen to music or to streamline operations, whatever else you do. So be clear. A problem from where we sit, or what we have learned, is that you must be able to identify the problem you're solving. using a verb. Very, very important. Listen to music, grow tomatoes, improve yields. And incidentally, then, one can say a market is a group of people with a problem to solve. So in this case, I can say a market is a group of people who want to improve yields, or a group of people who want to commute to work, or whatever else you can come up with. First question. Second question. Then before I move on to the second question, I want to tell you there are 3 characteristics of customers' needs or problems. Some call them problems, others call them needs. There are 3 characteristics that you should be very careful about or take note. The first characteristic is that the needs are stable, okay? Or problems are stable and they don't change over time. What really changes is the solution or the technology that is used to solve the problem. But the need itself is stable, or the problem itself is stable. That's the first point about problems. The second is that they have no geographical boundaries, okay? Needs or problems that people are trying to solve have no geographical boundaries. But what happens is that the solutions they use can vary very differently. So I want to move from point A to point B, from where I am to the middle of town. So you can hear the verb to move from point A to B. The word move is a verb. Okay, so now I could do anything. I could walk, for instance. I could take I could ride a bicycle. I could take a train, whatever else. The solution is changing, but the need is the same, or the problem I'm trying to solve is the same. The other characteristics of needs is that they exist, whether there's a solution or not. Yeah. So assuming I need to move from where I am to the middle of town across the road. Now, you can't tell me I don't have a need because there is no solution. No, I still need to move from where I am to the other side of town. Okay. So whether there's a solution or not, my problem still is still there. Yeah. So don't confuse demand creation. And because sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, let's go and create needs. No. That's not correct. Yeah. You can create demand for your product, maybe through advertising or something like that. But at the end, no, you cannot create needs. They exist. I still need to move from point A to B. I still need to streamline my operations, whether there's a solution or not. So first question you need to ask yourself, what problem are you solving in the market? That's the first question. And I've given you 3 characteristics of problems or needs, whatever word you want to use. First, they are stable. They don't change. Secondly, they exist. Rather, they are not bound by geographies. I mean, they are independent of location. And the third is they exist, whether there's a solution or not. So that's the first question. You need to ask yourself, what problem are you solving out there in the market? The second question, sorry, before I move to the second question, I also need to say, please don't confuse needs with solutions, okay? Because solutions come and go, but needs are the same over time. I'll give you examples. For instance, the job or the problem of listening to music. And I don't use problem in the negative sense. Like I have a problem with my child or I have a problem with my job, not in that sense. It's an issue that needs to be addressed, all right? So, and others call it jobs to be done, yeah? So music enthusiasts are loyal to the job of listening to music, very loyal. But you can see that technology has been changing all the way from mixtapes to CDs, and nowadays people use Spotify. But the problem they're solving is listening to music. They're helping people to listen to music. The only thing that has changed is the technology. The other thing that we need to talk about, and the example of commuting to work, okay? You can see there are several ways of commuting to work. Some will drive to work, others will take a bicycle, others will take a bus, others will walk, subway, depending on where you live. Some can even carpool, but all of those are ways of commuting to work. So don't be so much product-centered. It is better to be problem-centered. It's better to be problem-centered. What problem are you solving? out there in the market. So once you answer that question, what problem you're solving in the market, the next question you need to ask yourself is, who is it that has a problem? It's really now a question of market. Remember, we have defined a market as a group of people who are trying to solve a problem. Whether they are old or young, or they live in Europe, or they live in Africa, that's immaterial. It's a group of people. What is common about them is not their age, or where they live, or what they eat, or where they go to spend their time. What is common about them is that they have this problem to solve. They want to streamline their operations. They want to improve their yields. They want to move from point A to B. So who is it that has that problem? So if you're able to identify that, then you know you have a market. Okay, that's a question of who is your target market. All right, third question that you need to ask yourself before you come up with a value proposition. First question, you said, what problem are you solving? Second question, who is it that has that problem? The third question, what are the constraints of the people who are trying to solve that problem? Yeah, who are trying to streamline operations, who are trying to grow tomatoes, improve their yields, move from point A to B, and whatever else. What are their constraints? What obstacles? And the most common constraints are time, money, location, and skills. Those are the most common constraints. Now, please, the constraint is not the problem. So lack of money is not the problem. No, I'm trying to improve my yields or to grow tomatoes, whatever else. I'm trying to move from point A to B, but I don't have the time. Or I'm trying to obtain a college degree or improve my qualifications, whatever else there is out there, but I don't have the time, or maybe I don't have the money, or the location is too far off, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, or maybe I don't have the skills. So don't confuse the problem you're solving and the constraints of a target market. But I want to say this, when you're once you decide to solve the problem, you have to solve both the problem and deal with the constraints simultaneously. I'll show you how in a short while. All right, for instance, when the constraint is time, you can be convenient. You can do things, you don't sell convenience, you make it convenient for people to solve the problem. In other words, you have a solution and you make it convenient for people to use, to apply the solution. So of course, convenience means you give me what I want, when I want it, and how I want it. In other words, you customize it for me. Customize it for me. What I want, when I want, how I want it. So when the constraint is money, what do? You make your solution affordable. Yeah. And the constraint of your target market is money. You make it affordable. I don't like using the word cheap. Yeah, but affordable. You make it affordable. You make your solution affordable. So remember, your solution is supposed to solve my problem of improving my academic performance, whatever I want to do. But I don't have the money. So how are you going to help me? You're going to give me an affordable solution to help me improve my academic performance or whatever other problem that we are trying to solve. All right, when the problem is location, think about how you can make your solution accessible. Okay, so when not the problem, I meant the constraint. When the constraint is location, think about how you can make your solution accessible. When the constraint is money, think about how you can make your solution affordable. When the constraint is time, think about how you can make your solution convenient. And finally, when the constraint is skill, make sure that the solution that you provide is easy to use. Yeah, I don't have the skills. I have a problem to solve, but I don't have the skills. Now, make sure that the solution that you provide to solve my problem is easy to use. So, to summarize, 3 things that go into a value proposition. Number 1, you need to be clear about the problem you're solving. Number 2, you need to be clear about the constraints of the target market. No, sorry, who is it that has a problem? Don't guess. Don't beat about the bush. All right. And then number 3, you need to be clear about the constraints of the target market. So those 3 areas are the basic ingredients of a value proposition. I'll give you an example of skills. I know I haven't given that. In the past, well, for someone to take your blood pressure, you needed to have a lot of medical expertise. Maybe it's a nurse or someone like that. But nowadays, you don't need too much skill. You just need a machine and it will take your blood pressure. Okay. Another example of skill as a constraint, you have to test your blood sugar. Yeah, you needed a professional lab for you to do that. But nowadays, you can just use a small piece of equipment and you'll be able to test your blood sugar almost immediately. Okay, so I'm going to put us in our groups now, and I'm going to ask for us to think about those 3 areas. Who is your target market? What problem is that target market trying to solve? And what do you think their constraints are? Victor, if you're ready, we can put our teams in groups.
Thank you so much, Kirinya. And as you all know, to put in groups, what we do is that we launch a poll question asking which language you speak. And depending on the language that you select, then we're able to put you into groups. So kindly select the language that you speak.
Thank you, Victor.
Let's take the shortest time possible so that we are able to go into the groups and have our discussions.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much, Victor. Yeah, I want to believe we are a small team, so this should take the fastest. Yeah. We'll see who will not answer, otherwise they will not be in breakout rooms, so you'll just be hanging here.
So 100% have answered. I can see that from my poll.
I see 17 have
14.
answered. That is 73%.
Yes.
Huh? But I want to think that that is everybody.
Oh, 17 out of 23.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe the rest is part of WRI and maybe
ourselves.
So maybe we can just end it at this point. So I'm creating breakout rooms.
So that will be 10 minutes. We'll give 10 minutes for the breakout rooms. And then we can have a quick debrief after that. So please appoint a team leader and just answer those questions. Who is your target market? What problem are you solving for them? And what are their constraints?
Okay, I've opened all the rooms. So you'll be taken to one of the rooms, depending on the language that you speak.
All right.
Yeah, I think we have all the participants in the groups.
Okay, that's fine.
I can
How many
see
minutes
Joan
did you give them?
Sorry?
How many minutes did you give them?
Joan, I think Joan is not here. So how long do you want? How long do you intend to have? How many minutes? Maybe you can let us know.
Because they're about 5, that's 15 minutes, I think is good enough, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Victor, does Kirinya have co-host, right? Oh yeah. Because
Yeah,
it's easier
I
for
do.
you, Kirinya, to maneuver.
Yeah, I can see the people.
Yeah. Okay. Seems Joan is not here.
Did she drop off?
No, I think she came in and I don't know where she could be.
Maybe she dropped off. I actually see her, but I see her, but I cannot see her in the groups.
Yeah, she has not joined. Anyway, I think we could take round and see whether anything is.
Okay. Victor, how many more participants? Oh, how many more minutes rather, not participants?
I think it's just because we began at around 25, so maybe 1 more minute,
Yeah,
then we
I
can
think
close.
so.
Yeah.
Then we can close. Okay.
Okay. So even for our next breakout room, I think we'll just need to again reopen the form again, and the guys can then go to the breakout rooms. Same as what you've done now.
Okay. Okay. So are we going to keep the same participants or different for the breakout rooms? Are we back?
Yes, I think they're back.
Look like, yeah.
Okay, great. All right. I hope you had an interesting time in your breakout rooms, that you've
Yeah,
actually
Kirenya.
identified your, yes.
Yes, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Good to mention that interpretation is back. So just click on the globe button and feel free to select the language that is comfortable with you. Yeah, thanks. Back to you, Kirenya.
Thank you very much, Sam. Okay. I hope you had an interesting discussion with your team members about your target markets, about the problem you're solving for those target markets and their constraints. So we'll move on. Please keep those ideas because we're going to come back to them in another exercise. So allow me to continue. Sam, I hope you can see my screen. Victor, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes,
All right,
you can see it.
Okay, great. All right. So we said for you to come up with a basic value proposition, you need to answer those 3 questions. The first question was what? What problem are you solving? Second question is, who is it that has that problem? That's what we call our target market. And the third question is, what are the constraints of a target market when they're trying to solve a problem? All right, so there you go. Problem, what problem are you solving? Who is it that has the problem? And what are the constraints of these target markets or the people with a problem when they are trying to solve the problem? Then that way, you're now ready to craft a basic value proposition. Even before you tell us what is unique about yourself, you need to craft what is called a basic value proposition. And those are the 3 ingredients: the problem you're solving, the target market, and the constraints of the target market. Now, a value proposition, a basic value proposition must have verbs, nouns, and adjectives. A basic value proposition must have verbs, at least a verb. It has to have nouns and adjectives. So I'll explain in a short while. So 2 nouns in a value proposition, at least 2 nouns in a value proposition. And the nouns, the first, and then 1 adjective, and at least 1 verb. So that is the basic construction of a value proposition. It must have at least 2 nouns, at least 1 adjective, and at least 1 verb. I'll explain. Okay, so when it comes to the 2 nouns, we're talking about your target market. That's definitely a noun, or markets, and then the product or service that you're offering. Okay, so those 2. So 2 nouns. One is your target market or markets, if there are many. And then the second is your product. Those who are offering products or service, those who are offering services. Those are two nouns. It has to have one adjective. Now, the adjective in the value proposition speaks to the constraints of the target markets. So the adjective speaks to the constraints of the target market. And you've already identified them for your individual enterprises. So two nouns. Two nouns. The first noun is the target market. The second noun is your solution, whether it's a product or a service. So there's an adjective. You need one, at least one adjective, minimum one. And that adjective should address the constraints of a target market. Lastly, we said you need a verb. Now that verb speaks to the problem that the target markets are trying to solve, or problems, if there are many. So let's assume there's one only that you're trying to solve for now, for illustration purposes. So two nouns, one adjective, and one verb. But the most important part of the value proposition is actually the verb. And I'll explain why. I'll give you examples. Let's look at a few examples. Okay. Again, I made this one up, so please don't worry too much about what's there or what's not there. I just want to give us examples. So the first target market is tomato farmers. The problem they're trying to solve is to improve their tomato yields. But they have certain constraints. They don't have the skills and they don't have the money. The next category is small businesses. The problem they're trying to solve is to streamline the operations. It could be anything. Just pick this as examples. Okay, but they don't have the money and maybe they don't have the time in terms of constraints. The next category of a target market is high school students. Okay, the problem they're trying to solve is to prepare for exams or maybe pass exams. I don't know. But their constraints is they don't have money. Their location, they are located in a very remote area maybe, and they don't have time. So how can we craft value proposition for the tomato farmers? How will a value proposition look like for the small businesses? And how will the value proposition, a basic value proposition, look like for high school students? Remember, we have their problem and we have their constraints. So let's start with tomato farmers. Okay. I'm assuming it's my business. So I will say we provide affordable, easy to use fertilizers to tomato farmers so that they can improve their yields. We provide or we offer affordable, easy to use fertilizers to tomato farmers so that they can improve their yields. Okay, so if you look at that, the nouns are right there. Fertilizer is a noun and tomato farmers is a noun. So we said your solution is a noun and your target market is a noun. All right, let's talk about the adjectives. You can see the adjectives are right there. Affordable, easy to use. That's the adjective. Let's talk about the verb. Improve is a verb that we are talking about. Now, if you look at that, you can see the adjectives are affordable and then easy to use. Because remember, in the previous slide, I explained the tomato farmers that we are targeting in this business of ours. They are trying to improve their yields, but they have two constraints. They don't have enough money and they don't have the skills. So our solution, the fertilizer that we're offering, is affordable and easy to use. So you see those adjectives or adjective clauses address the constraints, the two constraints that we've identified for this group of tomato farmers that we are working with. So we are saying our solution, which is fertilizer, is affordable and easy to use, because we have realized that the farmers that we are targeting, the tomato farmers that we are targeting, don't have the skills and don't have the they don't have the skills and they don't have enough money. But the problem that we're really trying to solve for them is to help them improve their yields, which is why we've come up with a fertilizer that takes care, that solves the problem for the tomatoes, for the tomato farmers, because they want to improve their yields, but it also takes into account their constraints. So there you go. That's one example. Let's look at the high school. Okay. So we provide, not the high school, rather, the business, the small business. So we provide affordable, on-demand software to small businesses so that they can streamline their operations. Okay, you can see the nouns, software and small businesses. So we said a value proposition must have at least 2 nouns. You can see them there. Software, small businesses. It must have at least 1 adjective. And you can see the word affordable and then on demand. So we said the constraint of these small businesses are lack of money and lack of time. So we've come up with a software for them that is both affordable and it's available on demand. But the problem we are solving for them, the fundamental problem we're solving for them, which is the verb, is to streamline the operations. So if I ask you, what business are you in? You're supposed to tell me, I'm in the business of helping small businesses streamline their operations. Then I ask you, how do you do it? You tell me I provide software that is affordable and it's available on demand. And then if you just use those 2 adjectives, affordable and on demand, I can straight away tell these small businesses who want to streamline their operations have 2 constraints. The first one is lack of money, which is why you've come up with an affordable product. The second one is maybe lack of time, which is why you've come up with an on-demand product. But the real problem they're trying to solve is to streamline their operations. So we are saying, I hope it's becoming clear how to construct a basic value proposition. Yeah. Let's take the other example. The last example was high school students. Okay. So we say we offer affordable online past examination papers to high school students so that they can prepare for exams. Again, we have 2 nouns. The first one is past exam papers, compound noun. I don't know what they call it. The second one is high school students. So the nouns always talk about your solution and your target market. Now, the adjectives, affordable, online. So we said these high school students have a problem. They have a constraint of lack of money. And they also have a constraint of lack of time or something like that. But the real problem we're solving for them really is to help them to prepare for exams or maybe to pass exams. So you can see we are in the business of helping students prepare for exams. That's our business. But our solution is affordable and online based because we've realized that this category of high school students don't have a lot of money and they have a constraint of location. Maybe they are in the middle of nowhere. So we provide our solution then is affordable and online. Okay. So those are 3 examples, but I hope you can begin to see the pattern. You need to tell me in your business, your solution, the target of that solution, and the results, okay? The results when that solution is taken up by the target market, yeah? So that they can prepare for exams, so that they can streamline operations, so that they can improve their tomato yields. There's a question, and I'm happy to take it on board. Joseph,
Yes,
please
dear.
put your question.
Yes. I have a little question that I would like to ask.
Go ahead, please.
Really, I am very surprised and I'm very happy for this lesson we are receiving today. It's very
Yes.
wonderful and very
Yes.
important in our growing up business. So I would
Yes.
like to know, such
Yes.
this is a model of a company that has only one product,
Mhm.
one product only. So if your company has a lot of products and services, how
Mhm.
can you form your value proposal?
Thank you very much for your question. So, Joseph, your question is very useful for this discussion. When you say you have many products, are you solving many problems? Or are those many products solving one problem? That's my first point of clarification.
Okay.
Mhm. So tell me, are you saying you're solving many problems, or you're offering many products? Please clarify for me.
Yes, I offer many products to solve one problem.
Okay. So, the value proposition is every problem that is supposed to have its own value proposition. As long as there's a problem and there is a person with that problem, and you're clear about the constraints of that person who is trying to solve the problem.
Okay.
So what you should worry about is not the products, because you can have 100 products solving only one problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So for instance, if you're, let's just say that you're the business that is helping high school children prepare for exams. I'll take that example. So you're only solving one problem, but it doesn't stop you from providing many things
A lot
to
of
solve
products.
the problem. Yes, it doesn't solve you.
Okay.
So the most important thing about the value proposition is not the products that you're offering. It's about the problem that you're solving.
Ah, nice.
Are you okay, Joseph?
I am very okay. Very okay. Very nice.
Thank you very much.
So
Thank you.
happy.
Thank you. All right, we continue. I don't know whether I'm still
Nice.
projecting though. Am I still
Yeah.
projecting?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. There's another question there from Jean-Pierre. Jean-Pierre, the floor is yours.
All right. So thank you very much. This is one of the most important thing to understand, since
Yes.
if you are entrepreneur, the
Yes.
problem is what matters, because the problem will remain the same,
Mhm.
but things will change over time as the customer evolves and time
Yes.
evolves.
Yes.
So sometimes you have a very complicated or holistic way to solve a problem. So for instance, if on my side, we are helping farmers access input, finance,
Yes.
and skills,
Mhm.
them to grow more food for themselves and for the community.
Yes.
So, but they are not the one that where we are getting money is from people who are buying their produce.
Mhm.
So from that perspective,
Yes.
Who is the target market? Between those who buys from us
Mm-hmm.
and give us money,
Mm-hmm.
and the farmers to whom
Mm-hmm.
we provide the input for them to
Mm-hmm.
grow the. So that is
Okay.
my problem.
Good question. Yeah, excellent question, Jean-Pierre. What you really are is that you have two problems that you're solving. Okay. One is for the farmer. You're
Yes.
helping the farmer to produce for the market.
Yes.
And then you provide inputs, you provide technical advice, maybe whatever else you do for the farmer. That is one. But also you provide a market for the farmer. So that is the second problem you're solving for the farmer. So you're solving two problems. One is to help them produce properly. And then the second one is to help them find a market. So those are the two problems you're solving for the farmer. But that is not all. Because you're aggregating what you're getting from farmers, then people come to buy from you. So you also have another category of clients who the problem you're solving for them is to supply products so that they can sell and make money, isn't it? That's what they're trying to do.
Yes.
So you're solving three problems. So I expect three value propositions from you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
So that
every problem must
so
have its
in
value
that
proposition.
category,
Yes.
in that category, are we going to combine it in one value proposition, or we are going to disseminate into three?
You're going to have three value propositions. So every problem and every target market, every problem and the target market with that problem must have its own value proposition. Even though some of the things you're doing are the same, it must have its own value proposition. So now what you have is buyers or buyers who come to you to buy the product. So you have to have a value proposition for them. And then there's a farmer. The farmer is both your supplier and the farmer is first and foremost trying to produce for the market. So you give them inputs. So that thing about helping farmers to produce, it's value proposition. It's a problem to be solved for them. But also farmers want to earn money by selling their produce. So how do you solve a problem for them? You tell them, you bring the produce, I'll buy from you, or something like that. So remember, the farmer in this case is not producing to eat for his own consumption. He's actually a business person, only that he has chosen to do farming as a business. So you provide the inputs, they give you the outputs, which is the produce, you sell, you give the farmer back their money, and you also have some money to yourself. But now the person who comes to buy from you comes to you because you're reliable. They know they always have products and produce from you. So as long as the problems are different, you must have separate value propositions. Don't combine all of them in one.
All right.
Yes, so it is separate. It is separate. Each problem, its own value proposition. Each problem, its own value proposition. I hope that's clear.
Very clear.
Great. I can't see my slides. Are they still on the screen? I don't know where I went to.
It is still on the screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Any more questions? Allow me to stop sharing for half a minute. And then I can share again. Let me share again. So I can see what, oh, there we go. Is it clear? Is my screen back, Victor? I hope it's back.
Yes, I can see it,
back.
Kirinya.
Yeah.
It's back.
Yes,
Okay.
your screen
Okay.
is back.
I lost it at some point. Sorry about that. So there we go. Value proposition. Every problem must have its own value proposition. And the problem you're trying to solve is always a verb. And your target market and your solution are always nouns. And once you identify constraints in the target market, you use adjectives to describe the quality or what the quality of your solution.
Can you can you repeat that again, like very clearly and slowly,
Okay.
please?
So we said a basic value proposition has nouns, and the nouns are your target market, and the other noun is your solution. Your solution could be a product or it could be a service. That is 2 nouns. And then it must have at least 1 adjective. Now the adjective speaks to the constraints of the target market. Yeah. So for instance, if the target market is trying to prepare for exams, these high school students are trying to prepare for exams, but we said there are constraints in this example. They don't have money and they're in a very remote location. So how are you going to help them prepare for exams? You're going to give them a solution that is affordable because they don't have money and that is accessible from wherever. So maybe it's an online solution. Remember, these are examples. So, and then you're going to give them past exam papers. So if I ask you the business that you're in, your business is to help students prepare for exams, not to provide past papers or whatever else you provide, or software, whatever else. Your real business is to help students, high school students, prepare for exams. What was the other example? Business owners is to help them streamline operations or prepare books of accounts or market their products. That is your main business. So to summarize, you cannot write a value proposition well if you're not clear, first and foremost, what problem are you solving? Who is it that has the problem? And then the last is, what are the constraints of those people who are trying to solve the problem? Those are the 3 basic elements of a value proposition. So when it comes to writing a value proposition, like this one you've written for high school students, so we say we provide affordable online past papers. To who? To high school students. So that when you provide those past papers, what result do you expect from them? Is so that they can prepare for exams. And you can see the word prepare. The 2 nouns are the high school students and your solution. The adjective is affordable and online. And then the real problem you're solving for them is to help them prepare for exams. So that is the framework of a basic value proposition. So I'm going to send you back to your groups so that you can compile your value propositions for your business. And if you didn't get your target market right, if you didn't get the problem you're solving for the target market right, and if you didn't get the constraints of a target market, well, I am not a prophet, but I can promise you, you're going to struggle to write your value proposition. So before you struggle to write your value proposition, let us go back to, before we go send you back to the groups, I need to hear from each group very quickly. What problem are you solving? You can pick a, tell us your business, what problem you're solving, for who, and what are the constraints of the target market. Very quickly, I'm going to give us half a minute. Please don't talk for too long. Just say, I'm solving this problem for this target market, and I think these are their constraints. That's all. So we are 16 of us, so that shouldn't take too long. Victor? Can you help me on that side, on that score?
Yes, Kirinya, you want me to open the rooms, or you want us to?
No, just a plenary discussion.
Okay. So maybe I
So
can,
we
I'm
could
just
start
going to
with
pick.
yeah, just randomly from each group, but let
Yeah.
us know when you're doing the French so that we can interpret.
Okay, then I think I'll start with yeah, I see Millicent has unmuted herself. Millicent, you can go.
Okay. Do I start with my problem or the target market?
As long as you mention the three of them, I have no problem.
So, okay. My target okay. There I go. My target market is the government, exporters, and NGOs supporting climate change. The problem I'm solving is climate change, and under climate change, we have afforestation, land degradation, and poverty reduction. Constraints is finances and harsh weather sometimes when we are planting our seedlings. Thank you.
Okay, are those your constraints or the constraints of a target market?
Those are my constraints.
No, I want to hear the constraints of a target market.
Okay, constraints of the target market.
Or markets.
Market.
Mm.
Let me stop it at that, as I think.
As you think through it. So let's go back to the problem that you identified again. What is it, or what are they?
Afforestation, land degradation, and poverty.
Okay, so who is the government suffering from poverty?
No, the people that the community are not employed. So you'll find that most of them do not have jobs, and that is a problem. So my business comes in as a problem solver by employing them, and they earn wages at the end of the day. So we are reducing poverty.
All right. Are you reducing poverty or creating livelihoods?
Creating livelihood is also a way of reducing poverty.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. So you think about the constraints of the target market and come up with your value proposition. Now, because you have 3 target markets or 4 problems that you're trying to solve. So for the purposes of a group discussion, just pick 1 target market and 1 problem and their constraints so that the discussion can move faster. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Do you have French speaking?
Aim Roskam or Lawrence. I see Lawrence has unmuted themselves.
Yeah.
You can go first, Lawrence, and then you can have Joseph.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Our targets.
Yes, Joseph.
Our target market is.
Je suis là. Nous produisons. Donc, c'est ce que je viens de répondre là, ce que nous faisons. Nous produisons des chauds.
Just a little bit. Is the interpretation working?
Yes, it is working somehow.
Okay, now it's working. Okay.
Now it's working. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Nous produisons.
We are working in the production of ecological charcoal, sustainable and economic, and also gorillas as well. Then what we use, it is used in homes. And what we are trying to do, we want to reduce the dependency on charcoal, wooden charcoal. We produce stoves that are used in homes. I don't know if you're understanding me. I can repeat myself.
Just go ahead. I get it. But I didn't hear the first. Yeah, I didn't hear the first because I was trying to get the interpretation. Now I found it.
Okay.
Let's go start again, please, Joseph. Go ahead.
I can start.
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
Nous produisons.
So we work in the production of ecological briquettes that are sustainable and economic. And we also manufacture stoves, gorilla stoves, so as to help homes, private homes, to reduce their dependence on charcoal, on wooden charcoal.
Okay. All right. That's clear. But Joseph is talking about the solution they're providing. It's not talking about the problem you're solving. I didn't hear the problem.
Le problème I'm solving, le problème que je suis en train de résoudre ici, c'est la
The
dépendance.
problem we are solving here is homes depending on wood charcoal. So we are trying to reduce homes from using wood charcoal.
Okay.
Because when we talk on the dependency on wood charcoal, we can see here deforestation, cutting timber, and all that.
Mhm. Okay. So Joseph, I don't think that is a problem. I think the
Okay.
problem you're solving is providing energy, an alternative energy source.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm not using firewood just like
Yes.
that. Using firewood to prepare my meals, for instance, to cook, yeah, to prepare my meals as a source of energy. I'm using firewood to heat my water so that I can go and shower. So the real problem that you're solving is just providing an alternative source of energy so that people can prepare their meals, so that people can heat their water, whatever else they use the firewood for. So firewood
Nice.
is a solution. The problem is, the problem I'm trying to solve with the firewood is to prepare a meal for my family in the evening. I use firewood as a source of energy so that I can prepare my meals, so that I can warm my water, whatever else. So if people are going to move to your solution, then your
Okay.
source of energy must do a better job than what they're using now. Otherwise, they'll not move to your solution.
Nice.
Because
Nice.
they'll not buy your solution because it is, I'm sorry to say, environmentally friendly. They'll buy your solution because it is a source of energy. It helps them to prepare their meals at night, for instance, or during the day. The ladies, they're cooking during the day, or to warm their water so that they can shower at night. So that is what you need to think about. You're in the energy business, not in the briquettes business.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Joseph?
Yes, it makes sense.
Good.
Et
All right.
je n'ai pas encore reformulé, c'est que nous produisons des charbons écologiques.
So like I said, we produce resistant ecological charcoal, economical to have an alternative energy source.
Good. Great. All right. So let me send you back to your groups then. So I'll give us about 15 minutes. Then you can craft your value proposition. Then we come back. But before you come back, please make sure that you express your value proposition to your fellow colleagues and listen to what they're saying. So if you are solving many problems, please just focus on one of them for now. Otherwise, you'll spend too much time. The idea is to get the idea about a value proposition. What do you provide? For who? And what is the result once I pull your product once I buy your product, once I use your product? So we provide affordable past exam papers to high school students so that they can prepare for exams. So as long as you have a problem, make sure that the value proposition is tied to that problem. But for now, just come up with only one, because I know some of you are running many, you're trying to solve many problems, but just think about only one for now, for the purposes of this exercise, and then we can come back after 15 minutes. I hope you're okay on that.
Yes, Kirin, I've opened the rooms and I think people will go into their rooms.
yarabishe ku kigero.
Hello, Victor.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Can you please let me go in the English session because I see here in the main room and I just want to join another room of English so that I can do this
Okay.
valid position with the others.
Okay, no problem. Mm. Mm. Thanks all for coming back. I'm not sure if Kirinya is still on the call. Maybe they dropped off. Kirinya, are you on the call? Is Kirinya still on the call?
Okay, I think we are all back. I just need to give at least 1 or 2 people per group to read out their value propositions, and then we can wrap it up for the day. So let me start with group 1. At least one person to read out their value propositions so that we can learn from one another, or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
My value proposition is like this. We provide economical and affordable charcoal and pyrolysis stove to households so that they can cook cleaner and benefit from a sustainable alternative energy source.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Joseph. Anyone else in your team before I move to the next team?
Yes. Oh, I speak in English, but I am the team of French. I'm in the French team.
Okay, very well. Thank you. Okay, let me hear from the French team. One more person from the French team, because I've not had any input from the French team so far. I need 2. Let me start with 2. Anyone to go other than Joseph? Anyone to go? There's no one from the French team.
Feel free to raise your hand or just unmute yourself.
There's no one from the French team? If there's none, then I'll move to the next group. Let's go to group 1. This time I'll just give one person because of time to read out your value proposition for your group. Please raise your hand and go ahead and unmute yourself. Group 1 was who? I think it's Caroline's team or somebody. Then I think that was Joanne's team. And I don't know whether those, I can't remember the other team.
I think I can read from group 1.
Okay, go ahead, Millicent.
Yeah, so we propagate affordable indigenous and fruit tree seedlings to climate change champions to address climate change challenges.
Very well. Thank you, Millicent. All right, there was a hand that was up. I think that was Stanley. Can you read out your value proposition so that we can also learn from one another?
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm also in group 1.
Yeah,
so
go ahead, please.
I had 2 value propositions.
Yes.
So the first one was we provide accessible natural bee products to consumers so that they can have healthier lifestyle. And then the second one was we offer innovative training services and beekeeping equipment to bee farmers so that they can improve their yields and processes.
Very well. So the first one is a bit, you said you provide to who again?
We provide accessible natural bee products to consumers so that they can have healthier lifestyles.
Okay, so you need to clarify who those consumers are. So the more clarity you have, the better it is for you.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit general. I understand what you're saying for sure, but it's a bit general. Which consumers?
Okay.
Is it like urban consumers? Is it like, I don't know, rural farmers? If you're a lot more specific, it's better. Because for instance, just to give a a funny example. If I send you out to sell your products tomorrow morning, are you going to go to consumers or you're going to go to specific people?
I'll have to go to
Very
specific people.
specific people.
So, yeah.
Yes, yes. So now that is what we call your target market, because
Yeah.
you need to be very clear about who the target market is. But I completely understood what you're saying. But for the purposes of identifying your target market, it's good to be a lot more specific. Mine is construction workers or rural women, for instance, or high school students or tomato farmers, something like that, whatever. So the more specific, the better it is for you. That's the only feedback.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
All right. Let's do only one more and then we wrap it up. Just one more. This one will be random. Whether from the French team or from the English team, please raise your hand and then we can wrap it up from there. Okay.
Okay.
That's right. Bernice, you want to say something?
Yes.
Tell us your value proposition.
So we provide affordable and training measures for our target group, which is students at the university campuses and unemployed youths using our bicycle for delivery services.
All right. So they can deliver.
Totally. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
On
Great.
50, yeah.
All right. So thank you very much. I think we will stop there. But a summary, I'll take us back to value proposition. So for you to, and I'll just pick this last one that we did, a value proposition must have two nouns to summarize, and your two nouns are your target market and your solution. It must have at least one adjective because an adjective speaks to the constraint of a target market. That you've identified. Affordable on-demand software to small businesses so that they can streamline operations. So it is very clear from the value proposition that we are in the business of helping small businesses streamline and they don't have time. So our solution is both affordable and on demand. So that is how you construct a basic value proposition. So allow me to stop there and I'll hand over to Victor and team. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you so much, Kirenya, for that session. I want to believe everybody has kind of like learned something, one or two. If you have not been able to write down your value proposition, maybe you could take this as an assignment and try to develop one. The beauty of the stage we are in, it's possible to actually have follow-up with the trainer, and I'll be able to speak how that is possible. Otherwise, the work that we have done today kind of like prepare us for the next steps. In the next iteration, we will start to talk about strategy, and where we start is from where we have left today, looking at the value proposition. As I mentioned to you, Victor and I are currently attending a strategy retreat for our team, just refining our program together with other programs. And we were going through a similar assignment, really looking at what is our value proposition, but now looking at a higher level in terms of what do we want actually to change. And the starting point was really for us to be able to understand what problem we are solving and how we'll be able to solve that to be able to achieve to that end game that we are looking at in terms of impact. So we resonate with this session. And yeah, thanks once again, Kirinya, and looking forward to connecting with you even as we continue. So good, maybe we could take this remaining time to be able to share what is coming up in detail so that you can plan accordingly. We will try to make sure that we communicate as much as possible. Apologies that perhaps we did not do that efficiently in the past. But yeah, a lot is happening. But what we have agreed internally is that everybody here will have an internal mentor. I think that list was shared with you, and if colleagues, Victor, Fabienne, if you can find that list quickly, feel free to share with the team here, and equally also on the WhatsApp. So we do have 3 internal mentors. We have Will from Bakafund, mainly supporting colleagues who are speaking French. We also have Victor and myself. So we have divided equally these companies, the 16. And one of the roles we'll do is to be able to handhold you to make sure that you know what is happening, what is coming up, but most importantly, to be able to link you to mentors, say Kirinya, and also other mentors that we have. Good to mention that we did actually receive interest from 107 mentors across the globe. Some from India, some from US, and these are people who resonate with your businesses. So we have those who are more focused on leadership, governance. We have people who are focused on business, but even technical. I know there are people who are doing organic farming here. You may want to connect with maybe a mentor from Italy and all that. So we are finalizing on kind of like vetting them so that we make sure that the people we connect you with are people that we have actually vetted. Equally, that process is a bit slow due to the travel that we have on our end, but that should be done. So what will happen is if it's me and maybe working with Carol, I should be able to identify which mentor could be good, and we could try to have to make that connection so that you can be able to have a conversation with. Anyway, do expect our call. This should have happened, but again, this trip came up and a bit intense. But I want to brief the Francophone have already met with Will. Victor will organize when to meet with their people, and equally I will also organize when to connect with you. Yeah. So what is coming up now that we missed last week's activity? We have proposed to have a session this coming Thursday, same time, and this time round we did actually see a lot of interest around marketing strategy. We did see a lot of requests around branding, packaging, export, and all that. We may not cover all of them, but we want to maybe start a conversation looking at markets and just having a one-on-one. So we are going to have that session this coming Tuesday. So I want to believe you have a calendar invite. If not, we'll be able to share a calendar with you. After that, next week on 17th, another request that came in was around investment. So most of you here have challenges accessing investment. Actually, the report states that majority are actually self-financed. If not self-financed, they are looking at maybe financing from microfinance or banks. So we are in discussion with Bakafund, so we will have something around that, looking at your needs. So that will happen next week on Tuesday, same time. Now, from there, what will happen is that on 19th, we are going to have now, we are going to open up for other external mentors to be able to interact with you. So again, we have been able to prepare a mentorship schedule, which I want to believe equally this was shared with you on email. And again, we can post it here for your sake so that you can see. We have already slotted you specific days. So your internal mentor will work with you to be able to refine your deck. And then it is that deck that you'll actually come and pitch, not really necessarily pitching, but present to the mentors that will have already shown interest for that day. We are sharing with them a brief profile about your company so that if somebody is interested in organic fertilizer, they can express their interest to come. If they're interested in honey, they can actually join. So each day we are going to have 3. So it's a 2-hour session. So how we have divided it is 3 of you will take to the stage. You'll have 40 minutes. In that 40 minutes, you'll be given an opportunity to present, say, for 5-7 minutes. Together with your internal mentor, you'll have been able to identify some of the mentor ask what you'd like to be supported on. There'll be that session of Q&A. Sometimes we have seen those questions really directing you to the solutions or to answers, because most of the time we normally have answers. It's only that we need a trigger for us to be able to unlock that. But beside that, also the mentors will be able to give you feedback. And maybe we could have a call to action, which we could follow up with specific mentors that we'll definitely be able to see if they can be able to support you. Once you're through, somebody else will come in and we repeat the same process. And then after that, we repeat until that person is over. So that maybe the question is, what happens to the rest if you're not participating on that day? It's not a must for you to join that session, though we normally encourage that you join if you do have time, because in the process, you also get to learn. For the past years that we have done this, I have seen most of the people actually join. So would actually have almost 90% joining the session. So let's see whether you guys will be interested this time around. Yeah, so we'll have on 19th our first class, our first mentorship for the 3. And then please do expect those individualized calendar invite shared by Victor. From there, we will have every Tuesday and Thursday. Everybody has been slotted Tuesday and Thursday, and that will go all the way to Tuesday 8th. And then we plan Tuesday 10th to kind of like have more of pitch practice. So we will be showing you different ways on how you'll be able to pitch. This time around, maybe with 5 minutes. But that will prepare us for the next week where it's the boot camp, which all of us will be going to Ghana. I'm sure by now you have received a form, and I'm going to invite Fabiana to be able to speak about the process. But just to share about that week, we are looking at the needs that you expressed, and we'll be able to structure a program to be able to address that. I can tell you it will be intense, but at the same time, it will be fun. We strive to make sure it's fun. Remember, we'll be closer to the Atlantic Ocean, so we'll try to make sure that you get fun out of this event as you learn. Yeah, so that's how it is. We still have our consultant, Paminas, with us. Paminas is responsible to make sure that your deliverables are good, and especially looking at your deck. Some people may want support with the design, You have seen those nice presentation with nice pictures and all that. So we'll have Paminas also be able to support you with that. As you can see, it's back to back. It requires a lot of investment in time and commitment, and hopefully we can be able to do this together with you. Let me pause. If you have any question, feel free to ask, raise your hand. But in the meantime, let me give Fabiana an opportunity so that she can be able to share with us about travel and any other stuff. And Victor too, if you have one.
Thank you, Samuel. Hi, everyone. I'm really looking forward to all this mentorship. I wanted to reiterate what Samuel said about the pitch sessions. Highly encourage all of you to come, even if you're not pitching that day. You'll learn the most from your colleagues, truly. That's where I've learned everything. With regards to the event in Accra and the travel, please, if you have not already, fill out the travel form that was sent to you by email. I'm posting it again here in the chat right now. This will be very quick, and this is the information that we need to start making your flight and hotel bookings. If you have any questions, any doubts, if you don't have your passport yet, or you're waiting on something to know something about your travel, just please send me an email and be in communication. If after the fact you need to change something, send me an email. I'll be taking the lead on a lot of the bookings and working with a couple of other colleagues here at WRI. So please just communicate everything to make sure that we can get the correct bookings, make changes in time if needed. As we make these bookings, I'll be in touch with you if I have any questions. If there's several flight options, I'll send you an email to let you choose. And a couple of other things to reiterate from the email. We, as the Life Letter team, can cover one participant per company. So if you'd like to bring a second person from your company, you're welcome to, but that's at your own cost. So you'll have to book the flight, pay for the flight. For the hotel, if you're okay sharing a room, we'll book you a double room, or you can provide you can get a second room at your own cost, or find alternative accommodation at your own cost. And we will have a travel session on October 25th. Where we'll give you a lot more information. Most of you will have your flight information by then, so you can ask any questions about the event, about the travel. If you require a visa, we'll also be supporting you in that. Most of you will have a visa on arrival, and we'll manage everything for that beforehand. So all of that information is to come. This is not everything, but filling out the travel form is the first step so that we can get flights booked and make sure everyone gets what they need. So thank you. Please reach out with any questions throughout the process.
Good. Thank you so much, Fabiana. Yeah, we have 3 minutes. Wondering whether whatever we shared with you, it's clear, or there is any question. Feel free to raise your hand. Give us a thumbs up if that's still okay. Write on the chat, clear. I think that will help us. Okay, I can't see any communication, so I'm still hanging whether it's clear. Yeah, yes, Victor.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Mine is just a reminder to the top 15 that, as Samuel said, our consultant is here. We are still engaging our consultant. And part of what he's supposed to help you is just refine your pitch decks, your websites, and also your site videos. And so we had launched, a second form whereby you can be able to resubmit your deliverables. Of course, we are saying kindly work on the feedback that you were given before, and using the sessions that Paminas led us, refine your deliverables, and then resend again using this form that we submitted. Maybe Fabiana, you can assist me, just paste it here, so that then our consultant can give it a second and final review, just to make sure that then you have perfect deliverables for your own use, not only in this program, but even later. Otherwise, thank you so much, and looking forward to receiving the deliverables. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. I see.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Lawrence.
So I was going to just ask about what Victor just mentioned, because the feedback I got on my pitch deck, I've tried to work on that. And so do we use the same link to resubmit, or are we going to get another link?
Good question. Fabiana or Victor? I think there was a different link.
Yes, there was a different link that we created, not the same one as the first one. And I think Fabiana has just Fabiana, sorry.
Yeah, I'll post. Our time is up, and I know the chat goes away when we leave, so we'll post the link to the new deliverable form in the top 15 WhatsApp. I sent the link to join that WhatsApp group in the chat. Please join if you haven't already. But it is a new form. We've also sent it to you by email.
Thank you.
Good. I had seen Lucy hand is up. I don't know whether it's a burning question. Otherwise, we can call it a day. Lucy? Was it Lucy or Carol? Okay. Good. Otherwise, thank you so much. Let's connect this Thursday. Same time. Let's do same things. Good. Thank you so much, Bona Kirenya, for your support. I'm sure we'll connect soon. Otherwise, thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your evening. Bye for now.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.